Something has changed, Geralt. The world's acting strange these days. The North and South at war. Monsters roaming when they should be hibernating. Maybe it's the end of days.
Are you willing to sacrifice your life?
I've lived through 3 supposed end of days. It's all horseshit. This continent was meant for no one. None of us will have any peace until there are no monsters left in the world.
That's my home. My fight.
Your precious leader's after something. You're a pawn to get to it.
Rebuild our forces. Strengthen our numbers. We are an empire. The war's just begun.
Fear is an illness. It can consume you. Our best chance is to face it. Are you ready for this?
If what you say about that girl's power is true, you can't help her. The man, the myth, the legend.
We need your help.
Fine, but first... Gentlemen, it's been an honor. What? I made new friends. Get over it. Jealous?
All together now. So lock me up and suck me up and throw away the key. Welcome to the periodic table of awesome.
Yay! I wasn't expecting the musical intro. I'm super excited for it.
Oh, I'm down
Also
for it.
realizing that I probably should have watched that episode a couple more times to have known the words.
Yeah,
I mean-
I watched it again today because it was probably my favorite episode of the series. Only because somebody took their shirt off.
Was it Geralt?
It wasn't. No Henry Cavill
Ah.
shirtless scenes this season. So disappointed.
He was in a
but we did get
bath
to
in the
see
first season.
some
What are you talking about?
very sexy Jaskier action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you say Askier?
That's what I thought you said.
Askier.
Askier. Good old Askier. I love Askier.
You know.
Look,
Yeah.
if the Freudian slip works, then go for it.
If the Freudian slips, I'm in.
Oh, wow, there's a t-shirt if ever I was. If the Freudian slips, I mean.
Oh, hello. How is
Hi.
everyone this weekend? Weekend. It's now
Weekend?
Yeah.
Is it?
It's
What day is
Tuesday.
it?
Oh dear. I like that. Oh, actually, that's a good one, just Andrew. Buff skier. That's the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes, do some sets with your bard.
I mean, realistically, there is a good reason that he is as buff as he is, because I mean, he was essentially holding up the entire first season. So,
Oh. Straight out of the gate with that one, Quinny. There you go. How is everyone? Good this weekend, as I said earlier. Like, how is everyone this weekend? I'm throwing everyone out there that people are gonna be like, wait, what?
I'm having an awesome weekend.
yeah. I'm having a fucking terrible Tuesday, but it'll be a great weekend.
Oh dear. Good. Yeah. Hooray. What are we doing? What are we talking about?
The Witcher season 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Electric
specifically.
Boogaloo.
The Witcher. Thank you. Which is the company that does The Witcher?
That might
Netflix.
be.
I was about to fuck you up entirely and just gave CD Project Red.
And I would have gone.
Sorry, but Dion's little face as he got to do that was precious.
I have a soundboard and I am not afraid, as you know, to do that, even if it may cause some minor hearing loss in you or other people. I don't know, because I can't really
Thankfully, we've got the balance right now, so it doesn't hurt me anywhere near as much.
Damn. Yeah. Oh, well, yes. Excellent. I was quite okay. How do we all go with the first season of this? Because we did. Wow, when did we do this one? This one was like way back in
3 years ago, and we did it with
machine.
Hex.
Yeah, but it was like, was it? I think it was episode 45, or was it 145? I can't actually remember. One of those ones. But a few years ago.
I was nearly near Christmas a couple of years ago, and I remember we recorded it at work, and our lovely friend Hex came along and talked about it, and she had a dog under the table.
Yes,
that's mostly what I remember.
It was absolutely. I was going to say, it's back when we did podcasts recording
in the same
person.
room.
And
Crazy.
now we do not do that.
No.
We all stay away from each other and interact through the video medium.
Yes. What I had a problem with in the first season, I loved the fact that they addressed almost every single criticism that I had through the form of Jaskier in this season, where somebody has a go at his song. And so, well, I didn't particularly like the timelines that were all out of whack. And I was like, oh, well done. Well done. Addressing the criticisms and at the same time, saying, we hear you. We understand. Probably.
To be honest, I don't think I joined you guys for Witcher season 1, but I quite liked it and did not mind the timeline thing personally.
I was so confused.
Yeah.
It was intentionally confusing to a point. I only get mad if it's unintentionally confusing, but if it's intentionally confusing in a way that there's a reveal that brings everything into focus at some point, I'm like, cool, that's storytelling. I'm fine with that.
I think I've become one with the understanding of the Witcher TV series and / spin-off anime series that is going on, that we reviewed just recently, which is the books are a different thing, the games are a slightly different thing, and now the TV show is a very different kind of beast. It is much like they had in season 2 of The Witcher, a hybrid, a chimera, a different subspecies of Witcherisms, because... And will
a
actually...
whole other monster?
Yeah, I'll call out just Angela in the chat, because she is like... she's like, she has opinions. But I'm sure that my opinions of this, she'll either correct me or like why that's wrong, or hopefully she will. But there was some turns in this where I was like, that's not that character. That's not how that goes. This is wrong. I don't like it. I'm going to get on the internet and talk about it because I'm a middle-aged white man and I can. And I've just got to remember not to threaten people. That's all you got to remember. Just remember, middle-aged white men out there, just stop threatening people. That's all you got to do. Don't be creepy. No dick pics. Stop threatening people. Very simple.
There are a few more things that they could stop, but sure, threatening people we can stop.
Yeah, well, let's just try and start with the simple ones, Pete, and then we'll get them up to where they've got to get to.
Yeah.
Them, as he says, going, them.
Them,
nebulous
them. Not that I am them at all.
No,
anyway.
Not all Dions.
Certainly, I've never been involved in an argument on the internet ever.
No, why would you?
Where you had problems, Dion, I found none. Because as someone that has not consumed any of the other media, I really enjoyed season 2. I was glad to see a continuous timeline of just one. It was much easier to follow, although I did kind of forget everything that happened because I watched it before Christmas or whenever it came out. And so I had to rewatch a recap thing today, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a really good time with it, and I liked all of it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I remember watching the first season and going, because it was the big talk of the time because it was, it's 2019. We've just kind of dealt with Game of Thrones. Everybody's looking for what's going to be the next big fantasy TV show. And along comes The Witcher, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's got a very attractive man in it, and he wears some good leather. We should watch this." And I remember watching it and going, this is, I'm wanting to like this all the way through, but it keeps on changing the timeline and I don't know where the fuck I am. And I want to like this character, but I don't know, like he doesn't age and the other character doesn't age. So no, what the fuck's going on? And so, yeah, when I came around to season 2 and they were referring to things that happened in season 1, I was like, she screamed and a monolith fell down. Did she? Did she now?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Even like some people's faces, I'm like, who are they?
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, hang on a second, this is that person. Oh, okay. I have a lot of trouble with recognizing people that aren't like the 3 main characters.
Yes.
Well, it's because at least one of them acquired eyebrows in the moments between the end of season 1 and the beginning of season 2.
Look, it
really threw me.
It's fraught with peril to ever cast any sort of child or younger actor that is to grow up during a series. Let's be honest about that. And I think it's kind of like a crapshoot. You never know what you're going to get. Are you going to get the Neville Longbottom, or are you going to get some other child actor?
Aren't from puberty.
Yeah,
the makeup department.
It's a continuous moment between the end of season 1 and the beginning of season 2, and at some point, Ciri has found the time to go and get like a tint and
brow
shape.
pencil. Yeah,
yeah,
which was good.
I mean, look, she's somewhat magical. I mean,
magical enough for sudden and inexplicable eyebrows.
Well, if I saw Geralt in a wood and he hugged me, my eyebrows would turn brown too.
Sorry, I just
know
like
what that's a euphemism for, but okay.
I just want to shout out to Amy's comment in there that somebody saw the Witch show as a charcuterie board for bisexuals.
I'll have a little bit of this, and maybe a little bit of that one, and maybe a little bit of that one. Excellent, delicious.
In fact,
wonderful.
I'll have those two together.
It's just some sort of smorgasbord.
Yes.
Oh, goodness gracious me.
Yes.
And we've also, I've got to correct Missy. Missy in the chat is saying that she had zero interest in Henry Cavill before The Witcher. And I have to say that I have had a Henry Cavill problem since
Uncle Missy?
since the Tudors.
Oh.
That's too much of a deep cut. I think I just remember it from Man of Steel when I was like, yeah, fair enough.
Man of Steel was terrible, but like
No,
Tudors.
but just the shirtless stuff in Man of Steel. Like, that guy is a fucking unit.
He is a RBU, a real big unit.
Yeah, I mean, come on,
Would you guys turn gay for Henry Cavill?
A little bit, because we could have some weird sex and then play some 40K and then go and play some Warcraft as well. And then we could build a computer together. And then we could go out onto the moors and we could wear flat caps and be manly.
Yeah.
May have a bit of a weird man crush, not going to lie.
There is nothing wrong. I see no downside on any of this, Quinny. I don't know what you're talking about. It also doesn't mean that I would never want to sleep with women for the rest of my life. But I'm like, yeah, I'll do a bit.
But you'd experiment with Henry Cavill.
I'll have a college weekend with him.
Yeah.
Why not? Can I walk your dog? Sure. Let's do it.
My God. That dog is as big a unit as he is.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love it. Yeah.
The dog should be cast in The Witcher as like some weird beast thing that they have to fight.
It probably just
as long as they fight it with hugs.
Yeah. It's like, oh no, here comes the beast, and it's just his dog going, hello, being happy, and it's like, oh no, I'm dying.
Yeah, dying from cuddles and.
They could do that. They could do a little like extended, kind of joke clip for it. It's like, here he's fighting this beast, and it's like, oh no, I'm hopeless. Oh dear. Well.
Oh wow, we've got distracted
that was a
by
good
Cavill, then we got
sidetrack.
distracted by a puppy.
Yeah. It was a wholesome sidetrack, and
It's a wholesome sidetrack. Okay.
It was like there was some very sexy thoughts.
Quinny,
wholesome sexy.
Do you happen to have any sort of synopsis for us? What is The Witcher 2 about? And actually, can I ask a question? Would you like some music to go over there?
Yes, I would, but fuck only knows what the music's going to be.
You ready?
Also, secondarily, fuck only knows what the accent's going to be. So,
from lots of different places.
I mean, what's the old witches?
Vesemir?
Vesemir. If I could do Vesemir's accent, oh my God, I would. But I can't.
What is it?
He's
All right.
lots of different places, but also I got really annoyed that he didn't have anything like the accent that he did in the anime.
Yeah, I know. And also nothing like the games. And like, fuck, they should have just got Mark Hamill in. Anyway, look, okay. Hang on, let me put some music on and then you're ready to go for your one.
The plot for season 2 begins after the Battle of Sodden. Geralt has found Ciri at the end of season 1, and Yennefer, using the spell of fire to win the battle, has been missing. Geralt and Triss search for Yennefer after the Tisaya search for Yennefer after the battle, but are unsuccessful and assume her to be dead. So Geralt believes that he can get back to Kaer Morhen, for the winter will be the best place for keeping Ciri safe. Along with the fellow Witchers and Vesemir, Geralt trains Ciri so she can protect herself in the future. Geralt is unable to do so. Yennefer loses her power of chaos after the Battle of Sodden. The fire spell that she used in the battle seemed to have caused her to lose all her abilities. She tries to get her powers back as she goes back to Aradzuta, then escapes to protect herself when the rest of the story continues. How will our wacky gang get out of this one? Fuck only knows.
That was a detailed synopsis,
Wow.
and I
That was
applaud
long.
you, Quinny, for your split-second decision to accent to match the music.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I just a quick shout out to Bob Saget. I know he had nothing to do with family ties, but he was America's dad.
Well, okay. Fine.
Yeah. Yes. Too
But
much
nothing
plot.
for Betty
Sorry.
White. Fuck you, Quinny.
Oh, was Betty White in a sitcom like that? Yes, she was, but a different kind.
She was.
She wasn't America's dad.
No.
No, but she was America's grandmother or sex symbol,
Well, I
depending
mean,
on when
she
you
was
grew up.
nobody's grandmother.
No. no.
That's a story for another time.
Keep us on track, Pete.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot to talk about because, like, it's a dense plot that
Absolutely.
happens. And aside from momentarily distracting, inexplicable eyebrows, I kind of got on board with this. I think this is like a fun show to watch.
After Geralt getting absolutely fridged at the end of season 1 while they fought a battle kind of off screen without him, but at least they showed the fucking battle. Which was, that's my pet hate in shows where they come back and like, oh, there's been a massive battle and people have died when we haven't been around. Oh, we mustn't have been able to get the budget in time. That kind of thing. At least they showed that battle. But it was a weird way to end the season, which is like 2 people hugging in a forest. Wonder what'll happen in season 2.
But that was what the whole thing was building to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, a pretty typical denouement. You have your big explosive finale, and then your denouement is the thing that allows you to take a breath and go, where now? So I think it was a pretty standard ending. Sorry, Dion, you're wrong.
Now, I am not familiar with any other witchery things. I have not read books. I have not played games.
See, Peter, Witchery is a store in
Clothing
most malls.
Yeah. It sells a lot of candles.
I am familiar with witchery things, but I am unfamiliar with the Witcher universe.
Matched with the more masculine copper art, which is the bookend to witchery and copper art. Those two things go together.
No.
Okay, fine.
Sorry, I'm just enjoying the chat. Witchery, does she weigh the same as a duck? How do you know she is a witcher?
She turned me into a newt. So all right, and I'll put one thing out there with the rest of this discussion because I actually feel like everyone else here knows more of this season than I did for some God knows reason. All of this season, I watched it from like start to finish in one day during the Christmas break. I just wanted to. I just want to sit down and eat snacks and watch TV for a day and not think about anything else. It was actually glorious. But I have 100% forgotten what the fuck happened in this season.
Yes.
Like I remember
watched-
certain things about.
Do you remember Baba Yaga?
Oh yeah, there was Baba Yaga's house.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah.
I remember the kind of Baba. Yeah, I remember the kind of Baba Yaga. Okay, and this sounds bad, and I also want to just precursor this, like just Angela, yeah, Rena in the chat. I know that you love this. I just remember things that shat me to tears. So I feel like it's being unnecessarily negative, but there was just some stuff in there that I was like, that's wrong, you know.
Just let him get it all
Okay.
out there.
You know
Yeah.
what, Dion? You tell us what's wrong, and then I'll balance you out by telling you what I liked.
Cool.
Good
Oh
plan.
no,
I like this.
I'm not going to start that way. I'm viscerally interested in what you guys remember of the season. So you're kind of explaining it to me. So as I'm remembering, I'm like, yeah, okay, things happened, didn't they? Yeah.
Well, before watching the recap today, the only thing I remembered was Jaskier's breakup song. That's the thing that stuck with me.
Wait.
I'm like, they totally had a romantic relationship.
They broke up?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Geralt kind of just like left him on a mountain in the first season.
Yeah, with the weird dragon shit.
Mm.
Yeah.
Sort of white fanged him a bit, didn't he?
White fanged him. That's a deep cut, Peter. It's like this.
Yeah, God.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's kind of like, ow, fuck that. Oh, that's like right. That's the anti-nostalgia gland. That was. It's like, it's just kind of a spike of I'm old. Fuck.
What else did people remember from season 2? I remember Yennefer being a bit of a bitch and selling people out.
I mean, look, I remember the entire plot. I don't remember it exactly like that, but
Okay.
I kind of like I liked the fact that they backed away more from the Yennefer storyline. It felt like that to me. They backed away from Yennefer in this one, in season 2, because they had that very Yennefer intensive kind of season 1 where you got to see like the origin of Yennefer, and then they were focusing a little bit more on Ciri, as is natural because like she can be an awesome character. I just think it was poorly executed, but was there anyone else that you thought had the character development in there? I'm struggling to remember who actually had the most character development.
Well, okay, sorry, just to derail briefly, the reason that Yennefer doesn't have as much to do in this one is because it's based on the first book, and in the first book she fucks off for most of the book. So they've done an awful lot to try and bring her into the season, because she's not in the book.
Okay.
So yeah,
I enjoyed the political stuff with Fringilla and the elves and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
Oh yeah, there was that whole thing about how they get them because they lost the war and then they have to rebuild stuff. And I remember they went to Redania at one point, and I don't know how to explain this in a way that's kind to the television show, but the cities and the sort of locations are a little bit grander in scope for most of the games and the things that I've played in. So I always felt like they were walking around Backlot City instead of, Game of Thrones did it really well. That made it feel really big, even though it was small. Like, it was like one or two interior scenes, but they gave you an exterior establishing shot and a long view, and they kind of gave you this size and sense of scope. Every time something happened in Witcher Season 2, I was like, you couldn't have just thrown a CGI background in there to make it a little bit bigger, guys. Come on, this is a bit piss. But I don't know if that came across to everyone else. Like, did you still feel like it was?
I don't think I was paying that much attention.
yeah, I
to that kind of
didn't.
stuff.
Yeah, I didn't clock that. I had no thoughts or feelings about the cities or the size of them. I don't know how big the cities are supposed to be. For all I know, they're supposed to be like small.
Well, Redania is fucking huge. Like the main city. I can't remember what the name. Yes, someone in the chat will tell me. Trust me.
the main city of Niflheim.
No. But
Svartalfheim.
yeah,
Good God.
sure. But the one that really annoyed me was Kaer Morhen. Kaer Morhen felt tiny and shitty and small.
Cameron reminded me of the Black Keep and the Wall, like in Game of Thrones. Like, that's all it was reminiscent of.
But
Just
it still felt really small.
Yeah,
Like, it didn't
snow
feel like
and
it
cabins
is.
and-
Yeah. It's supposed to be a huge giant mountain stronghold that used to hold thousands of people that has been absolutely decimated, and there's like 20 left. and the whole thing's crumbling and caving in and everything. But the ground is just like huge, just really big. And this just felt like, there's a building over there and a building over there. The end. It's Kerborin. More like Kerborin.
And I mean, we're going to physically build this set, which is the Great Hall set. And then we're going to have some fairly small corridors and some bedrooms.
Again, which is fucking tiny and also has a tree in it, which it does not have a tree anywhere else.
That was a creative thing that they added in because they wanted to give a little bit more context to the witches and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know.
I was like,
kind of like...
I may have watched just before coming here to do this, some of the making of. So I thought I wanted to, have a little bit more of an understanding as to why or how they made the choices they made.
Yes, I understand. I also know Chest Angel is like hitting me in the chat going, yeah, but it was COVID, I dare ya. And I'm like, oh, fuck, all right. But also... CGI, guys. Netflix is one of the biggest entertainment companies on the planet. So them going, no, we can't afford a bit more CGI is like, oh, come on. Tell your story, walking, mate. You've just upped your prices in Australia.
Honestly, it didn't affect me in that way. Because I had no preconceptions of what Kaer Morhen was going to look like. To me, I was like, yep, it's a cool castle in the snow, and it's, bad things happen there. Oh no. So yeah, I really couldn't tell you, oh, that feels too small. Because to me, it was like, that is what it is.
Yeah. I wasn't affected by any of that. Sorry, Dion.
Yeah.
Not that you're wrong. It's just that your expectations were set differently to ours going in.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
And they weren't met.
And I believe you also had some expectations about one of the other witches.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. Like, we got to meet some new witches in this. There's always been more than one witcher in there. It's always interesting, fun, and stuff to come in there. But I have to admit that I was a little disappointed with, Witcher Daddy. Vesemir, yes. Yeah. But that's fine. It was actually quite fine. I think, yes, just Angela's in there. Eskel and Lambert, I'm very much kind of like, those guys were not what I was expecting and have a fair detraction from the kind of people that they are in the books. Like, or the games or whatever. Like, Eskel's kind of nice. Lambert's an ass. An absolute ass. Eskel is relatively nice and normal. Lambert is a complete asshole. Okay. So much so that, like, it's quite funny because everyone just goes, you're just a fuckhead. Like, even, Geralt in there is just like, fuck, stop being such a dick. Like, and that's kind of fun to have. But, like, this one was just kind of, too many changes of things. But I've got used to changes. They've had to change a bunch of stuff. At least they got to fight monsters. At least they got to do their things. I felt sad with some of the resolutions, which I'll get to in spoiler. Are we talking spoilers? Should I put up the spoiler logo?
No, we'll split it as per usual.
No. Yeah, it's just a couple of, those sorts of things. And I'm sort of, this is why I go back to you guys. So did you like everyone? Did everyone come across good? Was there anyone that you're like, oh, that seemed weird? Or you just go like, oh, no, I like all these people. They're cool. The witches are cool.
To be honest, I didn't really connect with any of them.
Yeah. There's a few of those tropes of like, oh, well, just, here's a little weak girl. And then eventually when the girl adopts a lot of male mannerisms and things, is like, oh, you have our begrudging respect and acceptance now. And it's kind of like, oh, come on.
When you've done your medieval ninja warrior, then you... And I will admit that was one thing that did kind of make me kind of go, that's the mark of a Witcher, is that you can go through that. Okay. It's probably quite difficult, but fuck, let's go a full Takeshi's Castle as opposed to just 3, it just felt a little easy, says man who couldn't do it. So what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, well, kind of. I mean, the trials of the grasses and all those other sorts of things, like, it did much better in the anime. I think that's how, explaining how they made witches is much better done in the anime. It's like, here's 12 kids in a swamp with a monster. Good luck, kids.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we lost 12. Oh, well, back to the drawing board. Next,
Actually, I do want to say that I think the anime did a little bit of a disservice to this, because you've set up a character in that which is that version of Vesemir. And the anime version of Vesemir is chirpy, upbeat, young, and and I saw almost none of that character in this Vesemir from the live action. And it's like, if you're going to do that, at least have some kind of crossover.
But he's got like
He's been through some shit.
he's like 30
But
in the anime.
was all
and
of
then
that
he's-
shit stuff that gave him a weird accent?
It's like all of that stuff was like, yeah, that's when he was 30, and this is like he's 160 or like, it's much longer period. They have much bigger lifespan. So I can understand how he's grumpy. I always like grumpy. Vesemir's just tired. He's just the tired dad. It's like, fuck, okay, I'll just sit here. I'll help you out, the wise old dude. And I like that kind of thing for him because, Geralt needed a father figure, and Vesemir is the father figure, and then he becomes like the grandfather figure for Ciri, which is nice. And
Hey, don't get me wrong. I liked Vesemir. I liked him in the series. I just didn't think it bore any resemblance to the one in the anime.
No, this is why the anime was like, this is weird. Everyone's just doing weird shit.
And I kind of think if you're going to build your story world through transmedia storytelling, you probably want to make sure that those things feel like they link together.
Is there a central showrunner for, for Witcher-based Netflix things?
Who's the Kevin Feige of The Witcher?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
That's a very good question.
so
And yeah, anyway, well, probably, an Andrei Sapkowski or Sapkowski.
no, it's
sorry.
Lauren Schmidt Hisrich is the
Okay.
showrunner for the Witcher series, but I don't know about the anime. I don't think it's the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, I know that the writer of the books is very heavily involved with the series. Was there a lot and, talking about it a lot. But I don't know, like, is he kind of also trying to put his hands on things and say, this is how this is meant to be? I don't know.
Well,
So
not sure.
Does Ciri work as a character for you? Hey, Ciri.
Come on, where's that joke?
It worked.
Thank you. Hey Siri, make my eyebrows darker.
Hey, Siri,
Oh, dear.
where can I get an eyebrow tint?
One option is the Lou Beauty Parlour on New Canterbury Road.
Excellent. Now everyone knows where you live, Quinny.
Well, they know where his closest beauty salon is.
Yeah,
Absolutely. It's
true.
now diminishing returns until you can find it.
I do like that they were like, oh, well, one option is this one, Quinny. Or you could just, I don't know, rub grease into your eyes.
Yes, true.
I don't know.
Okay, so the only issue that I could possibly have with the whole Ciri thing, and I don't think it's avoidable because I assume this is what the story is, it does fall into like a little bit of a man saves a princess trap over and over and over and over.
It's
and
kind
over.
of the whole premise of why he's with her. Is
Yeah.
Because, like, he won her and,
Mm.
yeah.
He won her.
We have some
So-
problematic base material.
Yeah.
Come on, but the
Can't really do
problematic-
much with it.
The difference between the problematic base material, and this is what I've always absolutely loved about the Witcher TV show, is like, oh, you have a child with surprise. And his first reaction is, fuck.
Fuck.
Like, it's not that other way around of like, oh no, I've got this kid now and we're going to go on wacky adventures and I'm going to be, he's just like, fuck. Like, I don't want this. Like, I didn't want any of this. This is just terrible. And then he's begrudgingly have to go through the whole thing and then drag the rest of them with him through it. I just kind of like, nobody wants a kid in this kind of TV universe, except for Yennefer, weirdly.
Yeah,
then
that
she
was
kind of-
weird. I don't. Yeah, that Yennefer's entire arc in series 1 being about getting the ability to bear children back was a thing.
Yeah, I
Sure.
think I remember you having problems with that about, a woman's whole purpose in life of bearing children.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's more about the choice than anything else. But that was a thing as well. Like, as much as I find it enjoyable, like a couple of these things, I'm like, oh no. Like even early on, I'm like, oh, this is just going to be an entire season of Ciri being rescued, isn't it? God damn it. That's not going to feel great. But I do think that they did, I think bringing Yennefer into it as much as they did kind of helps to offset that feeling of this is just like a rescue fantasy, a princess fantasy show. Just because the princess being rescued thing is just like so tired and has so been shoved down our throats for so many years, and we've like tried so hard to train our brains to realize that that's not a good thing, that it's like, oh no.
At least in this one, she wasn't really princess on the run now. Like first season was just princess on the run, and then this season was more like, okay, princess in a place.
Well, but also princess trying to take a little bit of her own, protection into her own hands.
Yeah.
Going, okay, I'd like to have some agency in my own fucking life.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
realizing her own self-worth and, all of the responsibilities and stuff that's coming her way that she may not necessarily want to deal with, but is going to have to.
Yes. Sorry. I'm just enjoying Chester Angela's description of Yennefer in the chat from season 1. If I could trade my bits for magic, whoop, instantly yeets bits.
Oh yeah. And then like, oh shit, I shouldn't have yeeted the bits.
Yeah. I want my bits.
She didn't trade them for magic. She already had the magic. She traded them for looks.
Oh.
Like
well
she yeeted her bits for the beautifying part of the process.
Yeah, did it make more sense? Like now that like after Ciri had kind of got settled in her place, did it make more sense going back and looking at the Nilfgaard Empire and seeing the different kind of reactions? Because it was always in the first season, Nilfgaard, the black armor, like all of those people were always the evil army coming in and ransacking cities and doing all that kind of stuff. Did it feel like they were trying to explain it was a bit more complicated than that sort of stuff in the second season? Because it was kind of a backwards and forwards, like who's in charge, who's going to win, who gets to go, like we're going to make a treaty with the elves so that we can have power and we can establish a foothold and do all those sorts of things. Like that felt to me interesting.
Yeah, I still don't quite fully understand it, if I'm being honest.
So
I don't know if it's my concentration is lapsing when I'm watching this show, or if it's just overly complicated. But I'm having a lot of trouble with like just trying to identify who is who most of the time.
I found it the least interesting because I'm like, ugh, politics, bring back the sexy men.
Yes, Peter.
I mean,
if I wanted to watch a show about politics, I'd watch Question Time. Like,
it's actually,
can we just have some more sexual tension between Jaskier and Geralt, please?
It's actually it's lovely how they've kind of done it and represented it in the games and stuff, because I've got to say, it's very simple. You have a black army, a yellow army, a red army, and a blue army. And they are all fighting and winning and losing at different points. And you kind of just go, oh, I know who's in which side because they all wear those colors. And it's like kind of like, oh, yeah, I get what's going on here. And currently, the black army is the biggest and almost the biggest and the strongest and the most aggressive. But much like the Romans, they bring with them culture, society, services, bureaucracy. Like
is this the people that Fringilla is working for?
Yes. So Fringilla is working for the Nilfgaardians, who are the ones who are coming from the south. So they've been basically shat on for a long time, but then they
were they the ones that overturned the kingdom that Ciri is supposed to?
Yeah, they were the ones that invaded and killed her mum and took over.
Okay.
That stuff.
And would have continued on to do the rest of the continent apart from Yen doing a fireball at them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So they were kind of on a roll, they kind of blitzkrieg the whole thing. Sorry, let's walk away back from the Nazi stuff. But they kind of they're more like the Romans. Like, they have great tactics, well-fed and stocked military, but and they're kind of bureaucratic but they're led by a singular individual. Who has a very fucking long name, and that's the person that we get to meet in the end of the second season as the big reveal.
that like I didn't actually know who it was until I watched the recap, and I'm like, oh, that's who that is.
Oh,
Me,
oh.
I'm bad with the faces, man. I don't know who anyone is.
I had
Also,
the same
he didn't
thing.
look like that a lot of the time.
Yeah.
There was also that whole big thing in the last episode where there was like the whole being in Ciri's past and everything, and I was like, oh, okay, right.
Yes,
Because I'm really glad
that
they
kind
did
of
that.
helps you at the end. Doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
I was kind of like, thank fuck you did that, because I would have, if your big reveal, I would have been like,
Who?
And part of that thing is I got really excited by is he's voiced by Charles Dance in the game, and I'm just like, oh, that's just good. That's some good shit. Having that character there, but I think that yes, I know. It's kind of like the politics stuff. It can get really interesting when you start like in playing the games or through the books, because it has a lot of political intrigue, which is kind of a nice separation between the here you are as Geralt running around slaying monsters, and then eventually going, I'm bored now, I want to go into a town. And then when you go into the town, you get embroiled in all of the affairs, much like Geralt hates to be doing. It's like, oh, fuck, I'm part of an assassination plot now. So I've got to go and do that. But you get some good shit out of it. Like, but you're all safe there, and not like, a dog or a bear's not just going to fucking sideball you from out of nowhere, which is what happens when you're walking around in the forest. So I was kind of interested that they were introducing those parts of it in this one, because there's such a huge, big world out there. And I felt in the first season, it was just very confusing about what the fuck was going on. And it was very kind of smallly focused on individuals. And this one, I think they're trying to stretch it and go, there's this much bigger world that's out there that you can sort of explore. And there's factions.
Especially
and people.
with their lovely exposition dump, where they're like looking at all the different worlds and stuff and explaining how everything is connected now.
Yeah.
very handy.
Yes.
And then an absolute fucking, I don't know if you call it like
To explain what like the monoliths and
meteor,
shit-
like, I don't know if you,
shit is, and
the
portals
conjunction of the spheres.
Conjunctivitis.
Well, everyone got a little pink eye in that. But the other thing that they just dropped in this huge banger, which, okay, so how old's Ciri now? She's like 15. And so when she gets to like 27 is like in a little while, she gets chased by this group called the Wild Hunt. I think that's about the same sort of thing.
Oh, these are
they're-
the horsemen of the apocalypse.
Yeah,
that
the
we've been
kind of the
seeing.
horsemen of the apocalypse that we see.
Which
And
kind
that
of
is a
bugs
whole
me a little
thing.
bit, because if you're going to reference the Wild Hunt, they're a Gaelic or Celtic fairy character story.
Oh, it's almost like the author just pulled whatever he wanted from all the different bits and stuck them together with gaffer tape and went,
that'll
world
do.
building.
The Witcher.
Witcher? I've never
Is,
seen
is this spoilers? Good question. I'm not sure.
I've never seen that done before. It's not really a spoiler. Like, I mean, they released the art of it into like Netflix put the art out of like,
But for
here's-
this season, is it a spoiler? Yes, kind of.
not really, because they just introduce them and then they fuck off. Like, they just kind of go, oh no, you're being chased by the Wild Hunt, and then don't reference and don't explain what they are, and then they move on. Anyway, back to war. It's a bit weird. It's a bit weird. I was like,
One thing I did really enjoy was the elf stuff, and Francesca going on a bit of a baby murder spree. I thought
That was
kind of cool.
Yeah, that was a big mood.
Yeah, right.
Because I was kind of like, I was watching it and I was going, oh yeah, okay, right. So, oh wow, that's bad. There's a bad. And then she just like, I was like,
And that's like, oh, that's
fuck.
worse.
Oh no, that's gonna go badly for everybody.
oh no.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing? This is not normal stuff. Go kill a monster. Did anyone else find there was a distinct
Weirdly
now we
distressing
are.
scene.
Yeah, it was. It really was.
Did anyone else find that there was a distinct lack of monsters in this one?
I don't know. I actually thought the first season was a bit lacking
There's
in monsters
actually
too.
Quite a lot of monsters in this. There was
There are a
the
whole
tree
bunch of
monster that
basilisks.
infected that Witcher, and then he turned into a monster. And
Yeah,
then
but
there
he
was
didn't get enough coin.
2 other monsters, and then a monster that killed a monster.
But
And
he
then there was
didn't-
the monster that came through the portal.
He didn't make any money from killing any of these things, and that's the biggest problem.
Amy is making a very good point. We are very spoilery at the moment.
And I'm just saying, there was a monster, and then there was another monster, and then there was another monster that killed that other monster, and then this monster and that monster.
And Geralt didn't kill nearly enough monsters. All the monsters seem to die from other monsters. What's going on with that?
He killed one monster.
Does that make a monster a Witcher? The Witcher monster. Which monster?
Dion, would you have been happier? Would you have been happier if this was a little bit more Monster of the Week? Would you like this to have been a bit more like an American TV series where there were however many episodes in there that are just Monster of the Week? Geralt rocks up, works out how to find the monster, gets gold coin, fucks off, does the next thing.
Yes.
Fuck someone, then fucks off.
Yeah, sorry, yes.
Yes. Like, how is that bad?
So
Like,
basically, Dion wants Supernatural starring Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
Yes. How is that?
I mean,
Supernatural-
not a bad idea.
Wait, how many seasons did
Carry
Supernatural
on
go
my
for?
wayward Witcher.
Sorry, how many seasons did Supernatural go for?
15.
So do not fuck with it, guys. Just do Supernatural, but with Henry Cavill with his shirt off. I guarantee you'll get 15 fucking seasons. Everyone can retire richer than God, and Henry can go back to making computers in his dungeon.
I will fund it.
Excellent.
I
See?
will fund 15 seasons of no shirt Henry Cavill.
Also, just made Henry Cavill sound unnecessarily creepy. Their dungeon might not have been the right.
As long as they don't queer bait us like Supernatural did.
Are you kidding? There is going to be a 10-season arc that's all about Jaskier and Henry Cavill. There's going to be a lot of shirts off. There's going to be so much queer baiting, and there is going to be so much slash fiction. There's going to be monsters and sex and sex with monsters. Yeah.
Not sex with monsters. No, Quinny, you don't have sex with monsters unless it's a Bruxa. Oh, wait. No, that's a good point. Just Angela said the Bruxa, which was one of the monsters, which was in the Beauty and the Beast episode. That's kind of random enough.
Oh, yes.
That Bruxa, that version
Geralt's
of a
friend Pumbaa.
yeah. That version of a Bruxa is actually really good. Like some of the monsters were like, that's a bit shit.
See, that episode was kind of leaning into Monster of the Week style.
Yeah. And they I also go back to season 1 where there was the episode that was basically just about the dragon. That was kind of like sort of Monster of the Week. And there is a part of me that kind of goes, do we need it'd a little bit more time, a little bit more breathing room would perhaps give more time for the politics to play out, for you to get a better idea as to who the characters are, but then also to have your Monster of the Week time. Do I want a 22 episode season? Probably not.
No, but I think they could probably stretch out the Ciri story over more seasons to get a bit of longevity out of it, and also prioritize the political stuff a bit more, especially if they want to include that in the story. Then you're going to have to make us be interested in it instead of just like a bunch of old dudes that are all spying on each other and us not really knowing why.
Here's Graham McTavish back again. Great. Thanks very much. Yes, you're still angry, Graham. Well done.
So I kind of I want to enjoy watching Graham McTavish get incredibly more portly as he would do to follow in the narrative of the games, because by the time Ciri goes up, his character is quite large. It's quite large, and runs
Not
kind of
that
like
kind of big unit.
No, not that kind of big unit. But yeah, look, I can't say that I have a little bit of a problem with the whole series, because I feel like I don't really remember, or nothing much of importance happened, and that made me feel a little disappointed with the whole thing, really. And I'm sad. Maybe I'll go
also
back and
a
watch it again.
little bit what happens when you slam an entire series in a day, though.
Yeah.
If I slam an entire series in a day, I often have trouble remembering the details of it.
Much like, is it kind of like binge drinking? It's like, honestly, you've had too much at one time, and if your memory's a little hazy, then it's probably not good for you. You shouldn't have too much of it.
I'm not sure if your brain is able to process that much stuff. Usually we have a few sleeps in between every episode for our brain to categorize the memories of it.
Yeah,
I'm making up brain science here. I'm just
it's quite good. I like it. I'll go with you on it.
That's what happens when you sleep. Your brain kind of, files away memories. It had a lot of memories to file that day, Dion. A lot of memories.
Yeah.
But I think
I was drinking. I mean, come on.
I do think that there is something to be said for and we've talked about it a lot, this whole thing of, the longer season as opposed to the binge it all in a day. I think when you binge it all in a day, it becomes one very long, not particularly memorable movie. If you think about season 3 of Daredevil, fuck only knows what happens in season 3 as opposed to season 2.
Wait, did they do season 3 of Daredevil?
Yes.
Man, fuck, I'm...
Yeah.
So this is what I mean. They become compressed and they become a little less meaningful. Whereas when you've got a week in between every episode, you've had time to process all of the things about the episode. Like we're talking about Boba Fett in other chat rooms and stuff, chat room. Where the fuck am I?
On your MySpace, Quinny.
Yes. My IRC.
Aren't you doing that on the bulletin board system that we've got set up?
MSN Messenger. Quinny still got it.
You can very definitely tell the difference between episode 1, episode 2, and episode 3, mostly because people are bitching about episode 3.
Well, no, fuck that, Quinny, because I say you're wrong in that one instance, because tell me exactly what happened in episode 4 of Raised by Wolves.
Episode 4?
Fuck it, no one remembers anything about Raised by Wolves apart from the last thing that they went through the center of the planet and a giant fucking snake flew around. What the fuck?
But also, I'm pretty sure I watched Raised by Wolves in a binge.
No,
I don't remember watching it week by week.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, so
fair enough then, Mr. Smarty Pants. It came out week by week.
Yes, but I didn't watch it that way.
Rather than continuing to argue the efficacy of our memories, should we give this a rating so that Dion can make a good spoiler?
Peter, that is something that we do.
Yes,
this is why we keep you around, Peter. For fuck's sake, you've just got to pull on the reins and be like, hey, what are you guys doing? Back on the path. Stop wandering off through the fields. Sure, rating, please. Jill, tell me, what did you think of season 2 of Witcher?
I am giving it a 60 for some quality sexual tension between two men. I have taken off points because the politics stuff was confusing and they killed Roach.
Yes.
Spoilers.
I mean, yeah, spoilers.
To be completely fair, Roach is literally what he calls every horse.
Every horse is Roach.
Anyone who read the books or played the games was like, no, it's fine. Roach is dead.
You can't call this new beautiful horse with the 2C waves Roach.
Every horse is Roach.
Every horse is Roach.
It's fucking Black Beauty's riding now. I can't call that Roach.
Black Roach. Sorry.
Okay, Dion, give me a number.
Look, to be honest, I got a little bit more disappointed with some of the ways that this went rather than being excited by it. And I actually didn't kind of like Ciri's story. I'm going to give it like 55.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
I really wanted to, where was the cool, actually there was a cool sword fighting scene, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was a big cool sword fighting battle with the magic fire guy and his buddies.
Yeah, that was, okay, maybe 65. Yeah, there were bits in there that I'm
10
like...
10 points for a fight scene.
No, not just for a fight scene, but there's there's bits that I got that I'm like, oh no, it wasn't, it's not that bad.
Okay. Peter, do you have a numerical value for me?
I'm going to give it like a 74 because it gave me everything that I wanted out of it. And it can't really help that there's some problematic source material that it's working with. The eyebrows threw me. And the politics was a little bit boring. But on balance, it pretty much gave me everything that I wanted to see out of the series in an entertaining way.
I want to reassess mine. Sorry, Quinny. Can I just bump mine back up to 70? My apologies. For Jaskier Thirst Trap and another decent song. So there we go. It's going to be 70. It's like, actually, no. That was kind of fun. Like, Jaskier's thirst trappy washing my clothes in a river.
Yeah. He's like, did you forget what you missed, Geralt? This is what you left behind.
Good old Jaskier. Thank you, Amy. I am going. Look, so we rated the first season 71, and I had a lot of problems with that in the sense that the weird timelines, the cool looking stuff, but very confusing. And I believe that I've used the phrase Henry Cavill is stoic, yes, but borders right onto mahogany. In season 1, I thought that he was playing so stoic that you may have been able to carve him occasionally. In this, I think he was a lot more interesting and a lot more lively and enjoyable to watch. He had a lot more emotional range. And they got rid of the annoying fucking time jumps and deliberately confusing plots. Unfortunately, they also replaced it with some stuff that I just didn't care about. So I was like, okay. I'm going with 65 because it was fine. It was, pretty good, but there were a few, like the musical number, great, but still no toss a coin to your Witcher.
I don't know. I
Really?
think it's still pretty good.
It was
come
good, but toss a coin to your Witcher is this was a big deal. So yeah, I look 65 from me, but it's not bad. It just like I really didn't have an awful lot to hang my hat on throughout it, and the three key relationships at the center of it, Ciri, Yennefer, and Geralt. I wanted, I don't know, more interaction with them or something. I don't know. Like, at least it wasn't as bad as the first season where they just didn't meet up much. But
I feel like they have kind of built up to that more happening between them now.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes me think, yeah, I'd definitely be in for another season of this.
Yes.
Bring it on Netflix.
See,
Take note.
I'm still waiting to see.
Definitely watch another season.
I'm still waiting to see that thing that is always prevalent in all of the things is the moral ambiguity, the grey area. Like, are they? Who's the real monster? Is the humans the monsters, or are the monsters the monsters? This season just sort of felt like they're monsters, and humans are shitty to each other and elves.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, no, it needs to be a bit more, grey area stuff. Like, it seems that it's all this, but it needs to be a lot more grey area, which is what I felt they kind of went with Nilfgaard. Like, Nilfgaard, bad, evil people taking over everything, but everyone gets a food ration. But that's not very moral ambiguity.
So, like, Australia would be okay if everybody just got a rat test.
We'd be the richest country in the world. Everybody.
That sounds like to me.
Yes. Just remember, kids, if you're paying more than $11.50 per rat, you can report that seller to the ACCC.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. So let's have a clip and we'll come back and talk spoilery business about all of this.
Sure. All right. Which one do you want, though? I've got two clips.
I know what my preference is. But...
Do you want to talk about Jaskier, or do you want to see more of Kaer Morhen's Ninja Warrior?
Do you even care? It has to be Jaskier.
Yes.
It's been a long time traveling on roads that lead to nowhere, with hopes and dreams that always rot. Sometimes it takes a prison cell, the tricks and tales that traitors tell, to help you see that freedom is all you've got. So lock me up and sock me up and throw away the key. Go fuck yourself, you horsin', 'cause you're through fucking with me. All together now and lock me up and sock me up. Throw away the key. Go fuck yourself, you horsin', 'cause you're through fucking with me. Thank you.
Say another word and I'll cut your tongue out.
Rude. Guys, your harmonies were a little pitchy. Gordon, you're amazing. Talent recognizes talent. Let's go again. 3, 4, and lock me
That's
up
it.
and stop
I'm
me
taking a
up
shit.
and throw away the key. You horse and... Cause you're through fucking with me. Fucking hell. You know what? We're trying to rehearse in here. Gentlemen, I am so sorry. Give me a moment. I need to deal with this girl's complete lack of decorum. Good sir, you would not know talent if I shoved it up your Geralt.
Fuck it.
I've missed you too.
What are you doing here?
We don't have time. We need to go.
Are you sure?
Yes.
The last time we saw each other, you basically told me to fuck off. Remember? And you left me on a mountain. Have you seen these boots? I mean, I pretty much just slid all the way down that hill back to Cairngorm.
Jaskier.
Don't fucking Jaskier me, I'm talking to you. This is how this works.
I need your help.
Fine. But first, gentlemen, it's been an honor. What? I made new friends. Get over it. Jealous?
Yes.
Bend me over, Daddy. I need your help.
Okay, Jaskier, if that's what you want me to do.
You sound
That
like Timur
voice.
Morris.
No. Yeah, similar but different accent. Fuck's sake.
Get in the prison cell.
Does
Yes,
anyone
good.
have anything particularly spoilery that they want to say before we
Well,
really
I
go
mean-
deep down in that hole?
Oh, Pete, there you go.
That's what he said.
Come out of the. I wasn't prepared for that level of innuendo from you, Peter.
In your endo.
In your
In his
In your
endo.
endo.
Oh man.
Oh,
Next week we'll
Jaskier.
review the slash fic.
Yes, Jaskier and Geralt play Philavandrel's lute.
Is that what they call it these
Yeah.
days?
Yeah. I believe that's a sexual position, isn't it?
Oh dear. Oh, dear.
Okay, spoilers. What I guess
Which
the
spoiler
big
was the big
spoilers?
spoiler on this? Is it that Roach died? Jill's already done that one.
Yeah, I already
Yeah.
fucked that up.
We're
sorry.
across that.
that Ciri's dad is the big bad? I don't know.
Which, you know, anyone who read the books or played the games knows that. Or, fuck's sake, yeah, right. yeah. It's the thing is Dooney. So
What?
Lord-
Dooney?
No, from the first season. Dooney.
Who's that?
You know, the hedgehog creature.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Right.
We need to talk
Is
about that. That was
Dooney,
the spoiler for them.
Is
Yes.
actually the Emperor. I was going to say Enfys Nest, but that's a different Star Wars film.
Yeah, that's-
I can't remember. I can't pronounce it. Like I'm terrible at doing it. Anyway,
Epinephrine?
Epinephrine.
Grufflehog.
Yeah, there we go. Emperor Epinephrine. He gets you up of a morning. He is basically, you know, we figure out he's still alive. He didn't die in that boating accident that they said that he died in, and he's actually been back down in Nilfgaard, raising everyone up, and you know, usurper. You know, Emir. That's right, Emperor Emir. Emir. And it's so fucking weird because I love the stylization that they gave them in the games. Is that they all have a very lilting, funny accent, which is somewhere between Spanish, Italian, French. And they all sound weird, and everyone goes, Nilfgaardians is just kind of like, oh, fuck, you're just one of the... And they're all very snooty and very, like, sort of up themselves. And that's kind of... That helps to give the differentiation. You never really get to see that in the TV show. It's just kind of like, oh, Nilfgaard is just another sort of human thing. I just wish they'd bring a bit more of that. But, you know, Emir is you know, voice acted by Charles Dance, and I want to see that kind of guy because there's a reason that he's the Emperor. It's because he has some really the white flame, and then there's a whole other long honorific that they say, which is I think it dances on the graves of his enemies, and he's
I
got
believe
all
that
this,
just Angela has put that into the chat.
probably worse than Daenerys, like when she gets her full announcement. But he's brutal, but also his subjects kind of love him because he gives them he makes sure that everything behind him is good while he's pushing forward and decimating everything, and his whole drive is to get his daughter back, and that is the interesting kind of thing that the Witcher is going to be about, and it looks like they're setting up for that kind of stuff in the future. I'm just not sure if it's successful enough because I don't feel like Ciri and Geralt are bonding enough at the moment. Does that make sense?
I thought they kind of were.
Yeah, I kind of thought they did.
Kind of down with their relationship being pretty strong.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
we
I
all
was wrong.
disagreed here.
I'm happy to be right. Yeah, no.
He's like reluctantly took on the dad role and is, give her a bit of a noogie every now and again, I reckon.
And there were some lovely moments in there, like where she's doing, shitty teenager going, you don't know me, you don't understand me.
Yeah,
And he's
"You're
like,
not my real dad.
yeah. And then he's like, you're actually the most powerful person and the most amazing person I've ever met. And she's like, shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, look, it's gonna be like it's interesting. Like that's where they're going for because they've foreshadowed, the Wild Hunt and this Emperor turning up and all that. Like, oh, that's interesting. You can get more closer to where some of the fans of the source material are like, oh, that's cool. It's just how they end up tying it all together will be interesting or terrible. It's either going to work really well or it's just going to be boring as shit because they didn't show enough side quests, which is where all the interesting meat on the bone stuff is.
Okay.
Thanks, Jill.
I think you may be right, and as much as it's sort of a weird thing to say, I do feel like maybe it is slightly too cut down, like a few more side quests, and maybe that's some of the stuff that I liked about the first season more, is that when you were dealing with a thing like the sexy relationship between Yennefer and Geralt, it was also combined with that whole thing about a djinn and the whole her going seeking for magic and everything, and it felt like they were world building at the same time as they were character building. And to me, this felt a little bit more kind of like there's a lot of character stuff, but not as much world stuff, perhaps. Or maybe the world stuff is just a lot more political and I don't care as much about it.
Yeah.
Which is hard because I'm like, I want more of that. I want to know more about the world, but also I want that to be interesting, please.
Yeah, I mean, it does set up a kind of nice little arc there, which is like, okay, the Emperor is actually her biological father, and his job is to try to hunt her down and find her for the reasons that will probably be explained in the future. This just gives a lot more credence to the monster of the week shit, where it's Geralt and Ciri on the run, battling monsters, having fun, getting into shenanigans, occasionally meeting up with a wizard or a sorceress somewhere, maybe traveling to all the different lands, maybe even making it all the way down south as far as Tucson, which is fucking great if they ever do that. That's basically Spanish French wine country, and everyone is super flowery, like seriously.
So where all the hippies live.
Kind of, but like they're very like everyone is very chivalristic, and the whole sort of like area, like that's a beautiful kind of game part of it, or storyline part. There's this whole other area down south which is beautiful and wonderful, and it's great because it's that and vampires. It's wonderful. It's a whole season right there. Yeah, but I would love to see those kind of. This gives us a good impetus now to go, okay, you've established all your characters. You had your first season explaining the world and how they interact. The second season, getting Ciri to this point where you're explaining how she's kind of super dangerous, or people are trying to manipulate her. And so hopefully season 3 is just, man on the run. Well, man and daughter on the run.
Actually, one thing I do also agree. I think that would be a lovely place for it to go. One thing I would like for them to do is be a little more creative in, and this is a real nasty kind of comment, bit creative in their monster designs, because whilst I really like the tree monster in the first couple of episodes, there are a couple of times that the monsters started to feel a bit samey. And in that last fight where it was just, 3 different basilisks?
Yeah.
I was kind of like, if you're doing this whole thing about, monsters coming out into the world and stuff, and they're mutant monsters,
Yeah.
they could be a little more interesting.
Especially if they take like so much derision from like folklore and stuff. Like you could have so much fun with, all sorts of different monsters from folklore and mutating them up and making cool shit with it.
There's so much out there to the source material, like has so much to draw from. It did feel a little bit kind of like, it's a bit same, or how do we get around having to show this sort of thing? It's like, it's been shown. People know what they look like. There's distinct things. And also we don't get to see too many, apart from the Pumbaa monster who had a conversation, you don't get to see most of them have conversations. Like some of the conversations in the games with the rock trolls are just fucking hilarious, because it's really hard to try to explain something to something that doesn't understand basic concepts.
Like time.
Yeah, or like, just go, me no understand thing, and you end up having to talk to it like, yeah, you go here now is good for you. And they're like, it's like, those are the sort of interesting things that they could do. Just kind of feel like, a big evil monster, it's coming out. Gotta kill it. With my sword. Always the sword. Why can't you kill it with compassion?
And there's a bit of that in series 1.
True. Yeah, true. True. Was there anything that stood out as like the best bit? No? You didn't like
when Jaskier was washing his shirt in the river.
So not the final climactic battle, which was sort of the Baba Yaga taking over Ciri and having this battle in front of a
I actually really didn't like that
tree creature.
I that was one of those moments where I was like, I understand what you're trying to do here, but I get really frustrated when the final big winning move is believe in yourself and come out of your own fantasy.
Yeah. I know you're in there. You can fight this. Said every screenwriter ever.
Yeah, you're stronger than you know you are. I believe in you. I'm like,
yeah.
They just
fuck off.
They just ripped that off the the Matrix. It was exactly the same plot line as the first Matrix film. It's like, wake up! You're in the Matrix. You need to wake up. Nah, it's good here.
Angela makes a good point in the comments that we did unceremoniously dispatch with a lot of witches, which was in that scene.
And I think this is really annoying because I like Eskel. Like in the other versions of Eskel, I really like him and he's a nice person and he should be around for the rest of the stuff that's going to happen if they follow through with the books and the games. And they've just gotten rid of him. And I'm like, well, that's shit. Like, he's a good one, That's sad.
Right.
And also, there is no...
Whereas I'm sad for you, but also I have a big old pile of don't give a fuck because in this series, he was there, he was gone. And I was like... So that's one of those difficult things because it's like it means something to the character, to the people who know the character, to the people who've watched the series. He was a bit part.
Yeah. Did you like the subplot about using Ciri's blood to make more witches?
I kind of did. I was interested in that.
Yeah, it
Is that
did.
not a thing?
Not really, no.
Okay.
I mean, yes, there is this thing about they can't make any more because they don't have the materials to make it, and that could technically be, backstory written as they needed Ciri's blood. I actually thought it was kind of a good thing because it gave a little bit more complexity to it. I was like, that's a good addition, She wanted to be a part of it, and everyone, everyone's kind of like, hey, this is pretty cool. We could make some more freaking things because we're sad that all the witches are dead or dying. And that's the sort of thing that didn't make me feel like sad in the way that I thought, I think the makers thought it would, which is like, oh, Ciri's going to go around and kill a bunch of witches, and basically stab them in the sleep. And I'm like, oh, that's a terrible way for witches to go out. Like, Most of the time they go out fighting monsters in a confrontation, not that sort of. It's kind of the thing.
Yeah,
I
it's a
don't
bit
think,
of a dog move.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I also go. I don't think that they would get done that way. Not a lot of them would get done that way. But that's just.
So,
my
I mean,
personal thing.
I think that was actually a really good moment in terms of showing the unfairness of it. It set up that bad guy as being pretty nasty. Though once again, I actually think the bad guy was a problem for me. And I'm sorry to keep going back to the negatives, but because it was this thing that just kept appearing in flashes in somebody else's brain, I kind of didn't get the distinct sense that there was a real threat there. It was like the Baba Yaga is just appearing in Yen's visions and then kind of taking over Ciri at the end. And I was like, if there'd been more of a fight with the Baba Yaga house or something, I don't know. It just didn't feel like there was a real threat there to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why are we wrong, Peter? Because you enjoyed this and you thought it was great.
I just didn't, I tracked that bit of the story and I felt that there was a threat because eventually she does take over Ciri and Ciri becomes quite threatening and unceremoniously dispatches with multiple witches.
Which is that story is one that we should pay particular attention to, just in case Apple Ciri decides to take over and destroy all of us in our sleep.
And also because I guess I didn't care that much about this series to care that deeply about those plot lines. I was just like, this is fun.
Yeah.
It's got Jaskier. It's got Geralt. It's got Yennefer. These are the ingredients that I enjoy. I shall enjoy this. Look,
Sorry, I just
was
need
watching
to check.
this
Did you
in
just call
between.
him Gerald?
Yeah,
He
sorry.
also says gift, so
I'm like,
Sorry.
you are so on brand.
I was watching this episode by episode in between a lot of very exhausting Christmas playing with nieces and nephews. So I was like, here is a fantasy refuge for me, and it just gave what I needed at the time. So I just didn't care about picking into those minor plot points that the way I would have in other situations.
Yeah, totally fair. Right. Well, I think we've perhaps mined this as much as we can. I feel like if we keep on going, there's going to be a big black
fight.
obelisk that's going to smash down and kill us all.
After a lot of yelling.
Yes. Yes.
After a lot of yelling, the black obelisk shall fall. It's time for us to have our own conjunction of the spheres, by which I'm going to go.
What do you mean by that? I'm uncomfortable with where you're taking this.
We're going to log off and then stick around for the conjunction of the spheres. That's when you come to one of my parties and you have to put your keys in the bowl. That's what they're called now. So never accept the invitation to Dion's conjunction of the spheres.
Wasn't going to anyway, but there you go.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, well, no, just because, it seemed like a bad idea.
No.
Okay, what are we doing next week?
What are you doing next week?
We're
we
talking about
doing.
Arcane next week. Doing a little bit of animation. Peter's favorite.
I know that Pete is not a big fan of animation as a storytelling method, but I think that you're going to get a massive kick out of this, Pete.
All right, maybe I'll watch it then. See how I feel.
This is something very different from what we've seen in animation in a long time, like ever. I've never seen anything that looks quite like this.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to get a massive, massive.
Where can you
surprise.
find Arcane?
On
Netflix.
Yes.
Yeah. While we'll be watching a bit of Arcane on Netflix in between episodes of Boba Fett.
Oh, and don't forget tomorrow, guys, the making of Hawkeye. The assembled episode is out tomorrow.
Yes. So you can watch the 4th episode of Boba Fett, and then the assembled, which is probably going to be wonderful. I'm sure. I'm looking forward to that a great deal.
Yeah.
And
And just before we run away, I do want to know, what do people think of Moon Knight?
Ooh, look, I think Moon Knight would be a fantastic show without the superhero stuff. Like, that just is such a really interesting premise. And the trailer was like, I'm like, shit, this looks so good. Like, if there was no superhero thing to it, it would be a really cool show. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Pete, where are you at with it?
I haven't watched it, and I haven't watched the trailer, and I have no idea what it is. So,
Oh,
no comment.
it's got Oscar Isaacs in it, and I will watch him fly a spaceship or do whatever else he does. He's a good actor. I like him. So yeah, I'm gonna watch Moon Knight. I also like it's kind of, you know what's kind of fun about Marvel television series? They're sort of like Marvel comic books. When you take a character that no one has any understanding or love for or a need to be one of the top tier characters, you can fuck with them and do whatever the fuck you want. And sometimes that spins some gold. So I love that they're doing Moon Knight, because Moon Knight is like, oh, it's Moon Knight. If it doesn't have a good season, they're like, Moon Knight's gone. They don't care. They can't do that. Like, pressure or that. They can't do that with like Spider-Man. It's like, oh, we're going to do an amazing Spider-Man TV show. It's like, it's going to be amazing. It's like, fuck the pressure. You know?
Exactly. Like, you got your legacy characters, and then you got the fodder. So you can do whatever the fuck you want with the fodder.
It's not like
But
Disney-
also, I love that because in the past, there were so many characters that we would have called the fodder that are now A-listers.
Oh, yeah.
You know, back in the day, I would have gone Thor, Iron Man, B-listers.
Dude, but they were golden age characters.
They're the Avengers.
Yeah, but
they're the Avengers. I mean, like, no, Disney's not going to fuck up a television show with an A-list character like Boba Fett.
Hold on to it, Dion.
Yeah,
Hold on
yeah.
to it so you can have your rant.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out for that one. That one's coming soon. Also, we are going to be talking about Peacemaker, which that will be not next week, but the week after, I believe.
Yes. I'm going to tell you, quite enjoying the Peacemaker.
I've got opinions on Peacemaker.
I was going to say, there are opinions.
Oh, no, that's okay. Like, you know, like, I don't like the character. He's a piece of shit. But I love Eagly. Early review is Dion loves Eagly from
MVP.
Peacemaker. Yeah, MVP. MVE. Most valuable eagle. Dear. Thank you for everyone joining us in the chat. You've been great. Thank you, Just Angel, for giving us your mighty wisdom in regards to all things Witcherini. I don't think we're not doing anything this Friday. That's fine. Friday's off. That's good. We're just gonna have a relax.
I'm taking my life in my hands and going and potentially going and watching Tim Minchin, which is actually something I'm very excited about, but also utterly fucking terrified of doing.
Right.
Just mask up, dude. Just put 5 masks.
Full PPE. Just do the whole thing. Like, you know, disposable shield, gown, gloves, mask, respirator, isolation booth, Pope-mobile. Just wheel that in and watch Tim Minchin.
Yes.
That's okay.
You'll be able to hear me laughing like
until your glasses fog up from inside everything. It's like, he was great. I couldn't see anything, but I heard it all. It's very funny. It's very, very funny. Oh dear. Yes, thanks everyone. We'll catch you all next time. Don't forget to do your homework of watching Arcane, Peter.
Yeah.
Okay. Do it. I promise. I always do my homework.
All right. We'll see you later. Bye.
Next week, bye.
Bye.
I wanna live in a world full of heroes, not sit here counting zeros in a cubicle downtown. I wanna look out my window, see 'em flying, and swing across the horizon as I cheer 'em on so proud. See, powered girl keep staring at her face, and call Colossus and have him teach me ways, and then we'd exercise. I'd be one of the guys. And martial arts from iron fist and wall. I'll dance her up and teach her all my songs. Oh, I wanna live in a world full of heroes, not cooking up these heroes. And my parents' run now. I wanna yell out Avengers assemble, not order up for Ethel. Yeah, we're out of cheeky now. Date Emma Frost and have her read my mind. Or Magdalena, her artifacts I find, and now we catch a symphony. It'll just be her and me. Call Lucky Barn and arm wrestle for hours.